Hello everyone, I'm Shannon Slatton in Maple Grove, and there will be a new voice representing Maple Grove and District 7 on the Hennepin County Commission, and that voice will be Kevin Anderson. He joins me now. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us. What did you think about the win?
You know, it was pretty gratifying to see the hard work pay off. My team and I, we worked for the last year, reaching out to voters, texting, calling, getting our message out to people every way we could. This is certainly not the way we thought we would be campaigning, but it was very, very gratifying and such an honor to be able to serve on the county board.
All right, and now the work begins.
Yes.
And one thing you spoke about during the campaign is congestion in this area, helping with traffic and transportation. Can I have you touch on that?
Sure. Well, District 7 has really been exploding with population. We have new developments coming in, and we haven't really been keeping pace on our making sure that we have options for transit and transportation. Some of our roads are falling behind in our infrastructure, and I'd really like to try to focus on how we can invest in those infrastructure projects so that we're taking care of our community.
All right, and another issue that you touched on during the campaign is mental health issues. Can I have you speak on that?
Absolutely. So I think that Hennepin County, we spend about 40% of our budget on health and human services, and making sure that we have access to mental health services is something that I really believe is important. If we can build partnerships with places like schools or with libraries to get mental health professionals or caseworkers available to people where they need them, I think it would be a real benefit to our safety and well-being of our community.
All right, and Kevin, finally, when you were out and about in the community or online and hearing from people and their thoughts and concerns, any other topics that you want to mention?
Well, you know, we talked with people that are concerned about the environment. Obviously, people are always concerned about their property taxes. We want to make sure that we're spending money wisely. And so we have to make sure that we're balancing all of this. COVID is obviously a huge deal. We're still dealing with it. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and it's not going away unless we are really making sure that we're taking care of our neighbors. And so I'm looking forward to taking care of everybody. Lots
of work ahead. Thank you very much for spending a few minutes with us, Kevin Anderson. And of course, if you want more election information, we've got all the results posted on our website, ccxmedia.org.
Brooklyn Park residents can expect to see voting polls again as soon as next spring. This time it's to fill the city's mayor position. On Tuesday, current Brooklyn Park Mayor Jeff Lundy was elected Hennepin County Commissioner for District 1. He's currently serving his third term as mayor, but since he will be sworn in as commissioner in January, there will be about 2 years left on his mayoral term. City staff say the city council must order a special election to fill the balance of the unexpired term.
If 365 days remain on the mayor's term, within 45 days, the council has to declare a vacancy and then call for a special election. And it also is going to be a citywide election, meaning that I'm going to open up all 24 polling places as well, and then be staffed by election judges.
Montero says there are specific dates that a special election can be held. As of now, the city is looking at April. He says if there are more than 2 candidates, a primary special election is required. Mayor Lundy believes the race for the Brooklyn Park mayoral seat will be a crowded one.
I figured there'll probably be a dozen. And right now I'm kind of wondering if we did add a primary after, because I was the last person who ran in a special with the unfortunate passing of Mayor Lampe. And so it'll be a good scrum, I suspect. And I think there's some good candidates out there that are going to be running for office.
And between the time Mayor Lundy moves into his new role as commissioner and the special election, the mayor pro tem will fill Lundy's position. That would be Lisa Jacobson. For CCX News, I'm Pafua Yang.
There's still a lot we don't know about Tuesday's election, but there are a couple of things that we do know. On a local level, the Minnesota legislature will remain status quo after the Republicans maintained their hold of the Minnesota Senate and the DFL maintained their majority in the Minnesota House. On a national level, Minnesota stayed blue and voted for Joe Biden. I reached out to Hamlin political science professor David Schultz to find out why.
Joe Biden did campaign in this state. unlike 4 years ago, where after at that point we still had a caucus. After the caucus, when Hillary Clinton got beat by Bernie Sanders, she never came back to campaign during the general election. And this time, Donald Trump did come back, campaigned several times, but of course, Joe Biden also came back and campaigned. And so he took it seriously and didn't take Minnesota for granted.
Schultz joined me via Zoom on the day after the election. He says another reason Biden won in Minnesota is because a greater percentage of the state's voters reside in the Twin Cities metro, which is an area where Democrats have done traditionally well. Meanwhile, the state legislature is another matter altogether. Schultz says the rest of the state tends to vote Republican, and the voter turnout for the president proved to be a big boost to GOP candidates further down the ballot. Initial results show that the Senate is on track to finish with Republicans keeping their 35-32 majority heading into the next session, which means that we'll have another 2 years of divided government.
This means that the governor's authority on the coronavirus and the pandemic, probably he'll keep doing every month, another round of executive orders. This also impacts the issues of reapportionment, the budget next year. So it kind of guarantees a status quo in terms of Minnesota politics.
Schultz says that a divided legislature also means that when state lawmakers come together to draw new congressional lines next year, it'll likely be hard for them to come to an agreement. That means that we're likely going to see some court battles in the coming year. In Brooklyn Park, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.